Hi, it's me, Erin Rasmussen, and this is my student presentation on CSS Layouts. So to me, a CSS layout, that's how you design and organize all your content. In effort, you want to make it beautiful. You want to make it easy for the user to read, accessible, legible. You want them to be able to navigate your website. You want it just to be beautiful, pleasing. And that's how you're going to do it with some CSS style. So here's an example of a basic website. You have a header, your navigation, your main content, your footer, and that's pretty much what's in a basic website. That's pretty much the format for every website, pretty much. And CSS can make that happen for you because you don't want it all to be in one big boring line. You want things to be where you want them. So there are 4 types of CSS layout. There are the CSS Flip Property, the CSS Flexbox, the CSS Framework, and the CSS Grid. So that's what we're going to discuss today and learn more about those 4 types of layouts. The first one is the CSS Flip Property, and it's pretty much the name says what it is. A lot of coding, like if you want a center, then you hit center. A lot of coding is pretty much the word of what you want to do. And so here's a good example. You have float left and float right. This makes your box go over here, and this makes it go over here. You want it like that. You don't want all this text. That's the main purpose, is to keep your element out of your text, because nobody's going to want to be at a website. I have some examples later that are really good at this. It's really frustrating when there's image over text and you can't read. And that makes people just click away really fast, especially nowadays, because it's not as common. And so people are just like, they're not even going to waste their time if it's not pleasing to their eye. Okay, so there are 5 values for the CSS Flip Property. You can float left, you can float right, you can float none, you can float initial, or you can float inherit. And this goes more. I mean, they're pretty much, if it's left, it goes right. You know, if it's none, then it won't float. And so throughout my presentation, wherever it is dark pink, hot pink, except for one spot, it's black because it was on a hot pink background, that is the actual coding. So you can actually use that if you need to figure out how to do stuff. Here's the coding. And there's an error. I'm going to just point it out. I just saw. What should this be? It should not be a dash. It should be a colon. So, sorry. I have a mistake. Okay. So here is some examples. So in this example, they have a picture of float left and float right. So I just use the blue area as column 1, and I put float left. So it's float, colon, space, left, semicolon, and then I put my padding and then my closing bracket. And so then here I did the same thing, except for I put float right. And so that makes this go to the right and this go to the left. And here's a good example of how it would look like in your text editor. Then here's some other useful codes that I added. Clear float. So there are 5 ways that you can clear a float. You can clear it left, clear it right, none, inherit, and both, which is the most common. And what that means is you have your coding and it's listening to your floating, but then you want to change it all together, but you don't want to change, you don't want it to mess up that, and so you can actually do, it's a lot common in the footer too, is because you've had your whole thing going. So you hit footer, and then you hit clear, colon, space, both, semicolon, and that will fix that. And then this is a really cool thing. It's a computer hack that I learned, and you can Google it to find more and explain it better. But if you have a box and your image won't fit in your box, it like hangs over and looks really pathetic, you can actually hit this overflow auto, and it'll shrink right to the box and fit like magic. So awesome. Okay, moving on. The next one is Flexbox. So the Flexbox is flexible response layout without using float. Float is kind of sometimes hard to use because you think it's going to go here, and it sometimes takes a lot of work to get it to go right where you want it. So Flexbox is a little easier to use. And so first you would define your flex container. This is the code you would use that. And then here you would, the second part, you make it flexible by adding the display property. So display flex. Okay, so here are the container properties, and this is the code that you would use to use them. And so it explains what they are. align content, that's when you use that to align your flex lines. And then underneath, I put an example. This means example, which I always thought it was IE, but that means something else. EG is actually for example, is example. And so then learn something new. Okay, space. You would add, like if you wanted the space to go around or space between or stretch, that's what you would add. So you would say align content, space around, or align content, space between. That's how those work. Okay. Align items, that's when you want to align your flex items vertically. And so you would do align items and then center if you wanted to go in the center or baseline. Flex direction, it defines what direction the container wants to stack your flex items. And so you would do like flex direction column or flex direction row. I'm going to skip down to flex wrap. So, and come back to flex flow because it's so cool. Okay, so flex wrap, it specifies as whether the flex item should or should not wrap. So you can say flex wrap. You want that want it to wrap. So then you can use flex flow is doing both the flex direction and the flex wrap. So you wouldn't have to type flex direction column, flex wrap. You could actually type flex flow column wrap, and that would do both. Super cool, huh? And then justify content, that's when it aligns the flex items, and those you would type either flex justify content center or justify content flex start. And then also there are flex properties, item properties. So like align self, flex bases. I'm start over. Flex items, flex item properties. Align self, flex basic, flex grow, flex shrink, and order. Okay. This is our third one, the CSS Framework. And as I understand it, it's a service a company offers that already has a lot of the code for you, and you kind of puzzle it together. And so I think you would go there and you would say, I want this, and then you would just get the code, and it really helps. It's really becoming quite popular because I think a lot of the work is done for you, basically. That's how I understand it. Here are the top 5 companies, and you can link on those. I'm not going to do it because we have the slowest internet and it will crash my presentation. So, but you should be able to click on these and it'll take you to these different companies. As far as I know, Bootstrap is the most popular. And I think GitHub, I guess, has some recommendations, and I think Bootstrap is at the top. Okay, so this is the last one. We're on our CSS Grid. This property organizes the content in rows and columns. Okay, and this is the example picture I used at the beginning. So there's some things that you should know. You need to have, in the grid layout, you need to have a parent element and then 1 or 2 children elements. It becomes a container and you use your display property. This is how you would do it, display grid. This is the black example of the coding. Vertical lines are columns, horizontal lines are rows. The space between, like right here, this would be your gap. So if you need to put a gap in there, that would be your gap code. And then the lines between, like if I had a line right here, or actually if I had a line right here, like this, if it was like a line, I guess it is a dotted line, but these are called column lines, and these are called row lines. Okay, pretty easy. Okay, one more thing you need to know. It sounds really complicated, fixed versus fluid layouts. And how I understand that is a fixed layout, your container is fixed. It will not move. If you shrink your screen, it will still be that same shape. Like if I was to shrink this, it would stay the same. I wouldn't get everything. It would stay the same shape. But if it's a layout, a liquid, the other one is a fluid. It's also known as a liquid layout. It adjusts to the user's screen. So if it gets smaller, then everything adjusts. So if you want more info on that, I'm hoping I'm explaining that right. If you need more info, you can click on the article. Okay, so here I included some examples. I think this is a really good example of a good layout. My eye comes first right here. Even though there's all this really cool stuff, I still come right here to their name, which is Lab Partners, and I've included the link if you want to go to their website. It is so easy to find things. It's just super fun. And I mean, it's just real easy to navigate. I kind of like their retro-ish maybe art. I just love it. I think it's such, I like the colors. I just think it's a really good example of a good layout. Here is an example of maybe a not so good layout. I mean, it is pretty cluttered. You can just see, this is, I will confess, these were examples I found online of bad websites, but if I'm pretty sure this is the same company, they've switched to .org, but take a look at their website. It is a massive improvement. I think they've switched to Wix, but it is gorgeous, the new one, because this is so confusing. And I mean, they had a lot of websites look like that, and I would just not even look at them because it's just too much. The colors are, I understand that they're going with the Democratic and the Republican, but I mean, there's just so much text, you don't even know where to begin. It's so hard to read. There's just so much going on. So that's a pretty bad example. There's hardly any there's hardly any white space on this website. I mean, I can't even tell if they had a logo because I don't think that's it. But if you go to this new site, it's beautiful. It's just a little bit of text at the top. Gorgeous image of the American flag. Gorgeous. Okay. Here is, oh no. Never mind. I lost my place. I forgot. Okay. That was my bad. I'm on to my second good one. Sorry, I got confused for a minute. This is my second good website. It's about pies. Yum, yum. I mean, it just makes you want to try their pies. It's really, really, the pictures are good, and I think it's just real fun. I think these could maybe be a little bit bigger, and especially the name of the company, I think it should be a little bigger, maybe a darker color. But I think that's a really cool layout. It's just kind of fun. You see all the pies. You know that their business is about pies. The last one I had no idea what's going on. So you can click on their link, and it has a new, and it's fun. They actually did make their title a little bit bigger. Okay, here's my last example of a bad website. And so this is Mr. Bottles. Here's a good example where the text is not wrapping around Mr. Bottles. You can't even see what it says back here, and there's just so much clutter. Their logo, I would not buy a t-shirt probably from this company. It just is a lot going on. And so actually, if you go to Mr. Bottles, his website has been updated, and it is really cool now. Okay, so here's some, I got my images off of Google, and W3 Schools is such an awesome resource. That's where I got my information. And then this is the Fixed versus Fluid website. So that's it. Sorry I went a little bit over, but I just wanted to share you all the exciting stuff about CSS layouts, and know that there's a ton more information out there. This is just a little bit to get you excited. So I hope that you learned something, and hope that you enjoyed my presentation. Thank you so much for your time. Thanks. That's it. Bye.